is. It's Thursday, and you're finally here.
Yes.
Where the hell have you been?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Everywhere in Kingwood, Texas.
Not here. Not here. All right. So you're here. We're going to pick a topic to discuss. I have just come up with some topics to talk about. I've not researched any of these. I had started to think about all of the things that Trump has done in this past year. And when you write them down on paper, that it seems pretty. I didn't bring the piece of paper with me, though. It's downstairs. But it's pretty alarming, from the closing up the border. I don't think that all of these things are necessarily bad, but just the quantity and quality of the things that he's done in this past year of him being in office. Closing up the border, instantiating this ICE force, which to me is reminiscent of the Gestapo in World War II. People out going and finding the Jews that don't belong here or that are substandard, and demanding, "Where is your papers?" And then getting rid of them because they're not providing them. I mean, doesn't it seem? I mean, I didn't live in that era, but from the historical accounts that I've had of that period, sure seems like it, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. My mother, when I was younger, read a book all about how Hitler very gradually did a little more, and he turned up the heat so slowly, the majority of German people didn't even see it coming.
Renaming the Kennedy Center after himself, taking over the Kennedy Center, really.
Yeah.
Going after his political opponents, pardoning all of the people that basically broke into the Capitol and hurt people. Severely injured or killed one of the officers, or somebody got killed. Maybe it was one of the protesters. Yes. But and he pardoned all of them. Said, "You're all innocent because you stand by me.
You're
so you can
true
all go."
patriots.
True patriots. Mm-hmm. Kidnapped, or how would you put it for the Venezuelan leader? He basically just went in there and took him. Right, just went in there and took him, and then decides he's going to take Greenland, which seems like he's backing out on that now, but.
Well, he's gone back and forth on that one.
Yeah, he has.
He goes back and forth on a lot of issues.
And then he insists that the economy is much better than when he started, even though many indicators say that it is not. The stuff that he's done in the past year, I mean, you can see the rage that it's caused, and that rage kind of led us into the Civil War. Anyway, I got to wonder how much are the people going to take before they have had enough. I mean, there's already rioting. I remember recently somebody from Greenland on one of the news reports saying, "We don't understand what's going on. The U.S. leader is trying to take our country from us. If Greenland suddenly decided they're going to take Sweden and claim it as their own, we would be rioting and protesting that. And yet we don't see anybody in America protesting that Trump wants to come in and take our lands." And I thought to myself, that's because we're busy protesting him trying to kill our people, take our
very own people, yeah.
He's attacking our own people, and we're trying to protest that. So we're kind of busy dealing with ourselves.
So many of the Americans can't see that that's what's happening. What's going on is they're like, yeah, but some of them were bad. Some of them are bringing drugs into our country, some of them. So you're going to let your own citizens fall and die for some of them.
I mean, the world at large is not viewing us in a very favorable light right now, with good cause. And it's just because we're becoming tyrannical about the way we govern. And I hate saying we, because it's not really we.
Right.
It's he and his cronies. And he is setting this stage of being a bully to the point where people who want to protect their positions and their ability to move forward in politics are just doing what he says because they're afraid that he's going to disrupt their progress forward, because he's only going to last another 3 years. They want to keep going.
They don't want to get axed.
Right. So they just do what he says. So they're feeding the monster.
Oh, absolutely.
And so who's going to stop them? it would end up having to be the people. That's a devastating thing to occur, to have another civil war. But I keep wondering every time he escalates something else and the people start revolting against that, I keep wondering, how close are we? They ramp up and then he amps up, and it just keeps going and going and going. And at some point, when both sides, because again, when I said in the talking head that I did about relationships, when my wife would get angry and I would get angry and we'd just keep getting angrier, at some point it would just blow up and become...
It never works.
A ridiculous thing that one time had Abigail just crying in the back seat, and I will never forget that. It was a horrible thing to have to put her through. And I wish I could go back and change that. But that day I realized how disastrous this amping up of our rage was doing to other people. And I just got to wonder, when's that going to happen to this country? It seems like it's happening.
It is.
Weekly now.
I mentioned to you that I had stopped to see a friend on the way here. In Georgetown, I made a right-hand turn onto one of the main streets, and it was just loud honking, and I could hear voices and screaming, and there were hundreds of people holding signs. They all had signs saying, "Make ICE leave," "End ICE." These people deeply concerned about what's going on with ICE. One of the things that saddens me with what's happening is 8 years from now, drugs are practically non-existent in the United States. And there's some things that have happened that are good. It could have been done a different way, in a way that's less polarizing, less divisive. I regret to say my feelings about the current president, Voldemort, the name that shall not be spoken. He's a master manipulator. And one of his techniques is he says, "Oh, they're a true patriot. These people who are doing these atrocious things are true patriots." And he is constantly complimenting them for their patriotism. So he takes a virtue or a quality that a lot of Americans want to have. Americans want to be patriotic. They want to have a country that they stand up for. Then they're not able to see that they're being manipulated. They're being complimented. I'm a true patriot. Some of the people on ICE are good people, and they're trying to follow guidelines carefully, but a lot of them are power tripping. And we've got, in a way, like you just said, the beginnings of a civil war.
I'm not sure I would call him a master manipulator. I think he's adept at manipulating dumbasses. But I don't know that he's a master manipulator, because to me a master manipulator is somebody who can manipulate you and me as well.
Yes.
And he is not very good at that, I can tell you.
No, there's a lot of, more and more every day, Americans that are starting to see what's going on because they're not easily manipulated. Someone I spoke to just the other day was saying that she had some extended family members that are finally starting to come around. Actually, it was some employees she had. They're Republicans, and they voted for Trump, and they're starting to regret.
Well, I think it started with the Epstein files, because he had said early, well, that and the Ukraine, because he said, I will have the Ukraine war solved before I even go into office. Mm-hmm. You elect me, and before I even get into the office, I'll have that resolved.
Bragging, boasting.
And then he kept saying, oh yeah, as soon as I get in, all the Epstein files immediately released. People will get whatever they want. Full disclosure. And then he shut up about it. And then he diverted. Every time somebody bring it up, he'd divert to something else. So I think even his own people started to see that the guy just talks shit.
Have you noticed that diversion's one of his, I'd say it's his number one go-to method is diversion.
Mm-hmm. It's the art of the deal.
Let's distract them, get them thinking about this over here while I'm doing this crap over here. That nephew I told you about, he's always loved the Constitution of the United States. He loves the Founding Fathers. He always is trying to protect the Declaration of Independence and any historic parts of history where American laws benefit the people. He's very frightened by what's going on with Donald Trump. he feels like not only is Donald Trump, he says he's an imperialist and that he is trying to find his way into much of the world as he can. And so are a lot of the other leaders in the other countries. There's kind of a thing going on globally right now where, hey, let's have borders that are almost invisible, like my dream, where there's so much love between the countries and respect for individuality, respect for different lifestyles. That's starting to become something that's going on less and less, the respect, and putting their country first. Everybody is wanting, not everybody, that's too much of a blanket statement, but a lot of them are wanting to say our country first. Mm-hmm. And that's sad because that's how it used to be decades ago.
Thinking of all that he's done in this past year, and we're only a quarter of the way through it. We got 3 more years to go.
I know.
So it's going to be interesting.
Do you think he will come up with a way that he can run for president when his time is over?
I doubt it, just because of his age. He's not going to admit it. I'm not sure that he's fully aware of it at the moment, but I think over the next 3 years, it's inevitable that he will become more increasingly aware of it. Now, will he try to do something like build a Trump party? Probably, but I don't know that he's going to try to run again. I'd be surprised. Even if he did try to run, what is it going to be like 87, 86, 87? I don't know how old he is now, but he'll be almost 90 if he tried to run again. And people are just going to wise up to that, especially since he doesn't have a lot of favoritism right now anyway. And whatever the hell he does in the next 3 years. And then his advanced age, he's not going to make it, even if he did try to run. But I don't think he will.
I just find when I listen to him, when he's being interviewed, when he's just talking to the press, I'm astonished at how repetitive his answers are, how it's like he's just trying to, he hasn't got anything new to say. That's concerning to me. He
talks in circles.
He does.
And he just praises himself and touts his own accomplishments. And he always goes back to, he seems to be obsessed with the idea that he lost that last election. And to the point where he wants to do nothing but point out what a mistake that was. You got Biden. Biden's terrible. You should have had me. Look what Biden did.
And he's also trying to get rid of anything that he feels Obama or Biden did that many felt benefited the country. I have 5, one is gone, but out of my 4 kids, 3 of them have lost their medical insurance now because it tripled. Mm. And it was the Affordable Care Act. It was as though Donald Trump's ego just had to get rid of that because it was started by Obama. But Obama was just trying to make it so that kids who couldn't afford insurance and people who couldn't afford insurance could get some sort of insurance.
From my own personal point of view, I don't look favorably upon that whole thing because when Obama first did that, the very first year, he had a website you could go to look for a plan. I went to that website because I really had high hopes.
I remember.
I went to that website and all of the plans were way too expensive.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford any of them. And then I got bombarded with phone calls and emails and people trying to get through to me. And I was like, this is crazy. I didn't go with any of them. And then that first year when we did our taxes, I got penalized because I didn't pick one of those. I had to pay, I think, $400 or $800.
That's awful.
Because I was uninsured. And it was
That's awful.
Crazy. And I'm having to pay out of pocket for my insurance. So I didn't come into that with a good...
I remember.
Yeah.
But so you take those prices, that they were showing you, this is what we can do for you. My kids went ahead and signed up with those prices, but now they've tripled.
I find it's cheaper to not be insured unless you have some real big medical condition, because I get discounts everywhere I go when like to a doctor's office, or the hospitals will cut me discounts, and it's cheaper than if I was paying regularly for a health plan. Now, it wouldn't work for my wife because she's had skin cancer and she has to be checked regularly. So it makes more sense for her. But for the most part, I'm in pretty good shape except for my occasional diverticulitis issue.
I know for a lot of the young people, that alone is making them feel like they're ready to fight for their rights. You know, asking, could you see a civil war around the corner? I've seen a lot of these people that were using the Affordable Care Act, and they did have to drop their insurance because they couldn't have it tripled. Really angry.
All right. So, well, if we do go to civil war, I'm going to count on you to be on my side.